What's going on, fam? This is Tati, and welcome to another Tuesday Talk with Tati. Yes, we love all the T's. So basically, I just recorded, today's my content day, so this is when I record on my content for the week, and I just recorded this whole message, this whole video, and it was like 30 minutes, and the thing deleted. The devil is a liar. And so, I recorded multiple videos before that, and some reason this is the one that I refuse to believe that. So we're going to do it. We are not going to be stopped because I'm praying that this is going to resonate with someone. This is going to help someone, even if it's one person. We all need to be reminded and we all need to hear it. And this is something, what we talk about today is what I live by and what has helped me so much in my journey, in my growth. So we're just going to get into it. I love y'all and I'm excited. Let's get it. So, when you're growing in your relationship with Christ, right, you are going to outgrow people, places, and things. And this is what we're talking about today. We are talking about outgrowing people, places, and things. All right. And so first I want to talk about outgrowing people real quick. I just got to slide this nugget in because I know how we could get as people. I've experienced, I've felt it, I've done it. And so I need to bring clarity to everybody so we can all understand this collectively. But when you are outgrowing somebody, please understand it does not always mean that there's bad intention, negativity, or for a negative reason, or they feel badly about you, or they don't like you, or they hate you. It does not mean that, right? It just means, it just means that your life is going one way that your life isn't. Meaning, it doesn't mean that someone's better than you. It doesn't mean they think that they're better than you or they think you're less. It doesn't mean better or less. It means it's different. It means their life is going on a different path than yours. And if they try to force themselves on their path, which is not on your path, which is not theirs, then that's going to cause delay. That could stunt. And we don't need that. We don't need that. That's more harmful that's not proactive. Right? And so please understand that when your life is going on a different path than somebody else's that may have been in your life, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. They can still love you from afar. Whether someone is a foot close to you, or 10 states away from you in terms of proximity of someone in your life, right? You can love them either way. You can love them whatever the distance is, whatever that looks like. But it doesn't mean that they have anything bad against you or they feel any animosity towards you. And we gotta stop being so offended by it and so defensive about it and try not to be as sensitive about it because a lot of the times it's not personal like that. And we gotta be able to receive that and be loving and reciprocate it with love and understanding. It's not necessarily always easy, but most of life isn't. So, I had to, because my sister and I had a conversation and she was talking about it was just so good. So we need to bring clarity to that when we talk about outgrowing people. And we need to understand that people in our lives are there for a reason and they're there for a season. Anybody that's in your life right now is in your life for a reason. And they're in your life for a season, whether that be one season, this current season, one day, multiple seasons in your life, a decade, your whole life, for 30 seconds. Like you meet people for 30 seconds and then boom. Technically, they were in your life for 30 seconds. You met them, you had an interaction with them, right? So people come and go in our lives for reasons and for seasons. And we have to be okay with that. We've got to be okay with that. Because this is part of us growing. This is part of us outgrowing things. And especially when we're in our walks with Christ, we are going to outgrow people, places, and things. Because when you're walking with Christ, you are going from living your life for yourself and doing what you feel is right, like what you find is true and what you find feels good all the time. You're finding less of yourself. You're taking your life and turning your life to reflect more like Jesus because Jesus did it perfectly, right? You are turning from your way to his way. And you're living less of you and more of him. And when you're taking that walk, when you're on that walk, you 1000% are going to outgrow people, places, and things, especially growth in general, right? And so, for example, when I was in college, right? When I was in college, I used to literally drink every weekend. I used to get drunk all the time. People wouldn't even know I was drunk sometimes. Like, I would go out to the clubs, bars, did all of that, whatever, right? And that was my taste because that was the environment I was in, and that was the stuff that was being ingested. And so once I started walking with Jesus, I lost the taste for that because I was no longer in an environment. I was no longer around people. I was no longer around things that were influencing me to ingest something that was a stunt to my growth. That was a stunt to my health. You know what I'm saying? So, then I went from drinking, being drunk all the time, being at bars to clubs, to found myself at church, found myself studying more, got in the word, just started doing other things that kept me sober. Like, I started doing things where I stayed sober. And I need to be sober minded. Like, we're called to be sober minded, but especially for me, I know for me is I do not function well if I am not sober. I don't like the way that I function. I don't like who I am. I don't like the way that I act. And from like my past and even like in the present, like so I choose. And so choosing that means now the things that I partake in are what I'm ingesting. And so doing that now changes my taste for what I want to do. Right. And that just helps, and that helps my growth. And so I'm saying this because, keep it a buck, God could snap his fingers and completely change you, or take away struggles, or take away thorns, and heal you, and do all these things instantly. And I believe, and I know that he will allow you to go through the process, because the process is where your true growth is. Process is where you find, that is where all the wisdom is, right? There is no destination without process. And without the process, you can't reach your destination. It's not like it doesn't, because you don't learn anything, you don't grow, you just end up from one place to another. And you got no testimony to talk about what happened in between, right? You got no wisdom and knowledge of how you got there and how you did it. And you don't have that to help other people who are going through it, right? And so the Bible tells us that if we ask for wisdom, God will give it to us, right? If we seek with our whole heart, we will find him. I'm pretty sure that's Jeremiah 29:13, right? But wisdom is found in that process. That's where it's found. And again, I'm going to say this one more time. Without the process, there is no destination. And so our process includes outgrowing people, outgrowing places, outgrowing things. And in that process of outgrowing, your taste changes based on what you're digesting, right? So I just give you the example of outgrowing things that I've outgrown in my life. But let's look at an example of what that looks like in terms of our taste and ingesting something. So let's say that you've been eating healthy for, let's say, a few months now, right? And in your house, there's a bunch of healthy food, and, you know, you've been working out, you're doing great, whatever. You've been eating healthy for a while now, so now you're enjoying it, and you're staying away from the processed foods and all the sugary and fatty foods, and now you're eating healthier foods for your body, right? And you're enjoying it now. So now let's say you go and eat fast food for the first time. right? You go and eat fast food for the first time, and when you ingest that fast food, your stomach completely breaks down. But it's fast food, it tastes so good, right? But your stomach is busted from it. Then you get diarrhea, or you throw up, or your body has some crazy reaction because it didn't digest well. Let me just give you the definitions of these, right? Ingest means to take in, digest means to break down, and produce means to make or manufacture from components. So basically whatever is digested, whatever's in your body, whatever's broken down in your body, that is taken, what's reproduced from that is what has been put in your body and broke down in your body. Right? So if I ingest fast food after eating healthy for 3-4 months, my stomach breaks down and I produce diarrhea and an upset stomach. My body doesn't like it. It wasn't proactive for my body. Right? And another one, so that's one example. Another example, right? Porn. Like when I was a kid and I was literally addicted to porn. It was slow. But look at it this way, right? If I ingest, because it doesn't always have to be food, right? If I ingest porn, right? If I watch it, I take it in. That's my ingestion. How does my body break down? What happens? My body has a reaction. I'm horny. I'm turned on. All these things happen to my body, right? And then what is produced from that? An action that makes me feel shameful, makes me feel guilty, and then puts me in a place that distorts love, that distorts my thinking of love and sex, right? All because that started from what I ingested. It's like a cause and effect. What you ingest affects how your body digests, which then affects what is produced from that. And it's either going to be fruit, good, healthy, juicy fruit, or it's going to be rotten fruit. And you will be able to see that in in whatever is produced from whatever you're taking in. And your body will tell you that, your spirit will tell you that. So understand ingestion, what you ingest affects what you digest, and is revealed and exposed by what you produce. Okay? And so that is where and that's how your tastes change. Right? So when I gave that, even giving those examples, let's give a good one, right? Let's give a good one. If I'm working out, right? If I start working out and I'm working out, let's say 3 months, right? I'm doing it consistently. That's a healthy habit I'm ingesting, right? Weights, cardio, stretching, right? That healthy habit or that physical healthy activity that I'm ingesting, how is that broken down in my body? How does my body react to that? My body reacts to that by my endurance goes up, right? My lungs are opened up more. I can last longer. And if I'm running or if you're making music, because best believe you need air to rap, sing, whatever it is that you do, right? To run, to work out, even to walk, because when you be walking up them stairs sometimes, you're out of breath after the first 5 steps. I hear you, right? And then from lifting, your muscles begin to grow. Your body reacts to that and digests that by your muscle buildup. And then what's produced from that, right? Joy, happiness, clarity, productivity, and you physically see your muscles growing. You see them get bigger. That's growth. That's something that's building you up. So whatever you're ingesting, whether it's building you up or breaking you down, your body is going to react that way. And that's what's going to be produced. A broken fruit, crusty fruit, rotten fruit, healthy, built up, fresh fruit. Right? And so it's really, really important that we understand what we're taking in and what we're around. And this is where our conversation that me and my friends were having about that stuff, because what the question comes back to is like, what are you around? Right? What are you around that's making your taste go, oh, I want that? What environments are you around? Right? She was explaining to me how she wanted to be a good example for her friends, but when she was around them, she would be tempted and then fell to her struggle, fell to her sin, fell to whatever it was that was going on in that environment. And she was trying to fight so hard to be an example of not doing that. And this is where you have to ask your question. You ask yourself question, what's around your environment that's making you feel that way? Right? What are you in contact with? Who are you in contact with? How is that making your body feel? And you are trying to fight with your own strength. Your heart is there. And I think this is what happens. Like, we have a good heart to think, to want to set a good example, to want to do this. But we're like, it's going to be really difficult to do that if you are not disciplined, built up in your self-control, and consistent in doing that. Right? And so, what are you in contact with that makes you fall? That triggers temptation, or that gives a temptation, or that to where you got thoughts creeping in your head, and now you're in a whole entire battle. Right? What environments are you in that are triggering that? What people are you around that's doing that? Right? And what is your body absorbing? What's your body absorbing? What's your mind absorbing? What's your spirit absorbing? Right? Ingestion, digestion, producing. And so in our process of outgrowing, these are the things that we got to be aware of and understand and figure out, because then you can place and you can take action, because God will help you out. He will be there for you. He will take things away. He will help you grow. He will do all those things, but you got to do something too. Whatever happens to us is not our responsibility. Traumas, when sometimes we do things and we consequences, that's on us, but a lot of our traumas and very unfortunate things that happens to us are not are not our fault, right? Bad things that happen to us, traumas that happen to us are not our fault, but it is our responsibility. And it is our responsibility to take action in our growth. And so what does that look like? What does that action look like? That first one is just being self-aware. And one is just really being aware of what your body feels, right? From what you're taking in, what you're ingesting, what your body feels, how it's reacting to that, what's being produced from that. And you use that formula for the people you're around, what the people you're around are doing, what environments you're in, and what all y'all are doing, right? And then, this is the biggest key, setting boundaries. You have to create boundaries for yourself. Because by creating boundaries for yourself, you are setting the example by doing that, because so many people want to be able to have boundaries and live by boundaries, but don't think they're strong enough, or don't want to get out of their comfort zones, because boundaries are not comfortable. Especially when you first put them up, they're not comfortable, because you're basically blocking off things that you've been living by, blocking off people you've been that have been in your life, or blocking off. And that blocking off doesn't even mean like being hateful. I'm saying blocking off by not allowing access to disrupt your peace, to disrupt your growth. And so going from that to that can be really hard. Going from that to just not it at all can be really hard. And I understand that. However, we have got to create boundaries for ourselves. And so I told my friend, I'm like, look, by creating boundaries, because people really, so many people want to do it. So many people want to do it. They just feel like they can't. But we can't all do it. And you feel like you can't because you're going off your own strength. And that's why we need Jesus. Because we need a strength that's greater than ours. And we need a source that can give it. We're not great enough. We're not big enough. We're not strong enough to be the source of our own strength. You're going to fall every time. That's why you fell in the first place. That's why we fall in the first place. Right? And so creating those boundaries is setting the example. Right? The example that you're trying to give, you're actually making the example by stepping out and creating those boundaries and doing what nobody else is doing. Right? And doing that, you're showing people like, hey, I can do this. Like, I love y'all. And like, yeah, we have all this history. We have all this, but I can do this because right now I'm trying to work for the betterment of myself. I'm trying to be who God called me to be, because God calls us good. We are his creation. And when he created man, he said it was good. And the only time he said it wasn't good was when man was alone. And that's why we need community. And that's why it's so important who your community is. Right? And you got to make sure the people in your community are people that are pouring into you, are pouring more into you than they're expecting out of you. Meaning, they're pouring in more to you than expecting a takeout. Using you as a takeout, right? Serving you. Being able to serve each other without expecting something in return. Can we do that? Do we have people like that in our community? You need people like that in your community. So this is, and you filter that out by having those boundaries. You filter that out by having those boundaries. And you are setting an example for yourself, but to other people that they can do it. But also you're showing where you stand in your life. Because again, God says that we're good. And he's created you to be amazing. You are amazing. And to do amazing things. But how the freak are you going to experience all God has created you to be? How are you going to experience all the things he has for you if you're not even the person you need to be? Because we want these great lives, we want these great things to happen for us, but we are nowhere near the person that we need to be able to not only have them, but maintain them. And that's where instant gratification culture I can't stand, because instant gratification cancels out your ability to create boundaries and to maintain them. Instant gratification cancels out being able to maintain these lives that we want, what all that God has for us. Because we want the instant feeling, and we just want it now, without understanding that you gotta work to get it, and you gotta work to maintain it. And that work that you put in is your process, which is exactly why I said you just can't go from here to snap, I'm here. You can't go from start to destination. That's where the process is. But we don't like process because we want instant. We want friggin' instant ramen noodles. No. No. We got to put the work in to do that. And that's where, and that's why I'm saying the first step are these boundaries, because having those healthy boundaries is what puts you in an environment to grow. It puts you in a safe environment to grow. The things around you allow you to grow. It puts you in an environment to now where all the things that you're ingesting is ingesting that and digesting, and now you're producing things that are going to build you up and not break you down. Right? In your boundaries, when it comes to people, places, and things, you need to create an environment, and that your environment is really like your life. Yeah, your environment, specifically what's around you, but it's also your life, right? What are you blocking? What are the things that you have to block off that are breaking you down, tearing you down, being toxic, creating addictions, creating all this chaos, and creating all these things in your life that are breaking you down and not leading you to where you want to be, but leading you to where God wants you to be? Like, what are those things? And that's where you need to put your barriers. That's where you need to create those boundaries. If not, your life is going to be like crazy because you're literally ingesting life and death. So it's going to be a roller coaster ride because you're allowing everything and anything to come into you. Boundaries is what filters those things out. Filters for people. And here's the thing, when you set those boundaries, you'll really see who the real people are in your life. If people can't understand why you have a boundary, like, sorry if it ruins your fun, or if it just gets in the way of their time with you or whatever, like, there's always ways around it. Like, there's always to make time without doing the things that will tear you down. But if people can't understand your boundaries and are not willing to, they gotta go. And you'll see the real ones in your life that shine through that. Because here's the thing too. People want to say like, oh, being a Christian is not fun, it's boring, and you can't do this and you can't do this. Listen, coming from somebody who had a childhood that was literally forceful as freak, like so forceful, that I had no interest in living like that, and then I didn't, but then still finding your way back to Jesus in my own relationship with him. Thank God that God has put boundaries on our life to protect us and to create a life, an environment that is good for his creation that he called good. If I didn't have boundaries, if I didn't live my life, if I didn't make an attempt every day to live my life, to glorify God and to live in the way that he called, the example that Jesus set, if I didn't make an attempt at doing that every day, my life would be chaos. And I'm saying that because my life was chaos. I would be wilding out. I was wilding out. Like, I would have no direction. I was lost. Right? I would not be where I am today if I didn't have those boundaries that I had to set for myself, but also that I had an example to live by. And this includes our relationships too, people. Let's not get this twisted. Because friendships, relationships, platonic and romantic. Listen, I can't even tell you the amount of times I've heard this and that I've said myself, I don't want to start over. Fam, at this point, I'd rather start than be stuck. I'd rather start over than be friggin' stuck in misery, stuck in being gaslighted, stuck in being manipulated, stuck in feeling worthless, stuck in feeling not in lacking self-esteem, stuck in trying to make myself somebody that I'm not, stuck in not having confidence for myself, stuck in trying to babysit. No. I would rather start over than be stuck, whether it's platonic or romantic. And that, the difference of starting over and being stuck is boundaries. And starting over doesn't even mean like my life is starting over. No. It means you're starting and you're over with that. That's what that means. That means you're not putting up with none of that. And to be able to filter that, be able to see who is, are you making an attempt to grow? Are you making an attempt to live your life in the same direction as mine? If you are not, that's fine, but that's your choice. And I'm not going to be held back there. I'm not going to be stagnant. I'm also not going to get dragged down. So we need to put up boundaries for people. We need to put up boundaries for places, and we need to put up boundaries for things. Because when we get ourselves in an environment that triggers those things or that tempts us, we're literally setting ourselves up. We are setting ourselves up for failure. We are. And so this is why creating boundaries is so important. And I just really am praying that we are intentional with this and that we really try to take steps to do this, because that is where you are going to be able to grow. Like, life will just make so much sense. And that's like, love yourself. Jesus loves you, love yourself. What? Love yourself enough to set up boundaries to protect yourself. Protect yourself before you wreck yourself. So, we need to create boundaries. And I got some scripture. Hold the phone. So, first scripture we're going to go to is Proverbs 13:20. It says, good people leave an inheritance. Oh, wrong one. LOL. 13:20, not 13:22. 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wiser. Proverbs 13:20. I'm reading from NLT. Walk with the wise and become wiser. Associate with fools and get in trouble. I'm going to say that one more time. Proverbs 13:20 NLT translation. Walk with the wise and get wiser. Associate with the fools and get in trouble. What? That is just clear cut. That's just clear cut. I don't gotta. But if you need me to break it down, I will. If you're around people that are influencing you to seek wisdom, if you're around people who are wise, that is influencing wisdom in your life, that is giving you wisdom, good wisdom, pure wisdom, you are going to become wiser. Associate yourself with people who are fools doing foolish things that get you in trouble, that don't keep you, where you always find yourself not sober, people that lead you into addictions, that lead you to where you're absorbing their bad habits, to where they're dragging you down, people who are getting in trouble all the time and not making an attempt and not trying to be better. And when I say people like in your life that are trying to be, I'm saying like they're doing the work without you having to say something all the time. They're doing the work without you even have to say something. Right? Hang out with the wise, you're going to be wiser. Associate yourself with them fools, you're going to be foolish and get in trouble. So there's one. People matter. All people matter. I love all people, but people who are in your circle dictates how much you want to grow. And dictates the delay to your destiny. Next one. What was it we just did? Proverbs 13:20. Okay, now we're on 1 Corinthians. Let's get it. I love the Bible. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Okay, what does it say? 15:33. Don't be fooled by those who say such things, for bad company corrupts good character. Oof. Let me, one more time. Don't be fooled by those who say such things, for bad company corrupts good character. Meaning, if you're saying something that's going to lead me, or you want to do something, you chatting to want to do something that's going to corrupt my character or stop me from being who God's calling me to be, you got to go. Like, we can't hang like we not going to hang. Right? And if you're chatting, but you don't got time to work on yourself, or you don't got time to study, or you don't got time to do proactive things to your spirit, proactive things to your growth, to your body, to your mind, that's low. Because I will be freaked. I will be danged if I allow someone to corrupt my character from all the time, all the pain, all the trials and tribulations I went through to get to polish up my character now. I still got things to work on myself, but I will be danged if I ever let another person pollute my character, corrupt my character. And if you got people in your life that are corrupting your good character, they gotta go, fam. And that's with love, but they gotta go. Shoot. Last one. Hebrews. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Hebrews 1:12. And I'm still reading from NLT, so anybody knows. Was it 1:12? Or is it 12:1? It's 12:1. Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. What are you ingesting that is weighing you down? What weight do you have to strip off that is weighing you down and is delaying your destiny? What sin is tripping you up? What environment and people are you around that are sinning in the way that you especially struggle with, that are tripping you up and adding weight to the delay, adding time to the delay of your destiny? We need to reflect. We need to take a minute and just really go through and start filtering. We need to set boundaries, and we need to filter. Because the time that we're in right now, our world is spooky. Our world is spooky. People need help. There's so much evil in this world. There's so much and we just don't have time. We don't have time to be sitting in caca. We really don't. And so, and mind you, this is for your well-being too. This is for your joy, your peace. There's so many people that do not have peace in their minds because they don't got boundaries. You let people walk over you. You're people pleasing till the day you die. There's a difference between serving people and pleasing people. I'm going to just say that. I'll leave that for a different conversation. Boundaries, guys. Boundaries. We got to set boundaries. And I'm saying that, and I'm very stern about that because I care. And because I've literally done that in my own life. And it has produced so much beautiful fruit and so much peace. My friends, I be inside. Because early on, I had to set the boundaries up. Out of probably 100 times that I've been asked to go out, I've gone out once, maybe twice, absolute most. And in those times just assured me why I don't go out. Because I know myself. I know how I can get. If I'm around a bunch of people and everybody's drinking, I'm not going to be the only sober one around these drunk people. No way. I know how my flesh works. Okay, I'll have one drink. That's it. One drink leads to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm drunk. Now I'm around a bunch of people. Now I'm flirting with people I got no business flirting with. Now I'm talking to people I got no business talking to. Now I'm moving and interacting and doing things I got no business doing. That's how my flesh used to move. But my flesh is still... I gotta die to my flesh every day. But I'm not... I'm not making it easier on myself by putting myself in that environment. So I had to set a boundary. I can't be around this, and this. This is what makes me tick here. This is what makes me tick. So this is how, and I need this for myself. I will make sure we spend time together, or I will make sure I do this, I'll make sure to do that, but I will not compromise. I won't compromise for comfort. And I won't compromise for my comfort, and I won't compromise for your comfort. Miss me on that. And we got to start practicing that for ourselves. Boundaries, people. Boundaries. So we need to set healthy boundaries. And I know I've said 100 times, but I really just want to get this in your head, because that's where you're really going to see yourself grow. That's really when you're going to see yourself outgrowing things. You're going to really see the change. And I want that for everybody, because there's so much peace in that. It's so healthy. Like, you will see the most drastic changes for the good in your life. You will see all the things producing. You'll see all the beautiful fresh fruit in your life. And then you'll see how that can help other people. And you'll see how that will produce fresh fruit in other people's lives too. And so that's what we should really be focusing on right now in our lives. Life is too short. So life is a process. We're outgrowing. It's okay to outgrow people, places, and things. But don't forget to put boundaries. Don't forget to set boundaries. Focus on setting boundaries for yourself. All right? I love y'all so much, and I can't wait for our next Tuesday talk with Tati. God bless.